But tonight, I will address the crisis in Flint first and in depth. To begin, I'd like to address the people of Flint. Your families face a crisis you did not create and could not have prevented. I want to speak directly, honestly, and sincerely to let you know we are praying for you, we are working hard for you, and we are absolutely committed to taking the right steps to effectively solve this crisis. To you, the people of Flint, I say tonight, as I have before, I am sorry and I will fix it. No citizen of this great state should endure this kind of catastrophe. Government failed you, federal, state, and local leaders, by breaking the trust you placed in us. I'm sorry most of all that I let you down. You deserve better. You deserve accountability. You deserve to know that the buck stops here with me. Most of all, you deserve to know the truth, and I have a responsibility to tell the truth about what we've done and what we'll do to overcome this challenge. Tomorrow I will release my 2014 and 2015 emails regarding Flint to you, the citizens, so you will have answers to your questions about what we've done and what we're doing to make this right for the families of Flint. Anyone will be able to read this information for themselves at michigan.gov/Snyder. Because the most important thing we can do right now is to work hard and work together for the people of Flint. Thank you. Thank you. Please be seated. I know apologies won't make up for the mistakes that were made. Nothing will. But I take full responsibility to fix the problem so it will never happen again. Let me tell you what's been done so far and what we'll be doing in the coming days, weeks, months, and years to keep our commitment to you, to make Flint an even cleaner, safer, stronger city than it was before, because that's what you and your families deserve. We are working to do whatever we must until this crisis is resolved. The people of Flint have chosen a new mayor, and I'm personally committed to work hand in hand with Mayor Weaver so we can rebuild the trust that's been broken. I've already taken steps to bring new leadership to the Department of Environmental Quality. These are individuals who understand the severity of the problem and who will effectively communicate to the people of the state. For those whose mistakes contributed to this disaster, we are fully cooperating with investigations and will hold those individuals accountable. And let me be perfectly clear to all of state government. In situations like this, they must come to my desk immediately, no delays, no excuses, period. Thank you. We will provide resources to help anyone and everyone that is affected, just as we've provided since we first learned of this crisis. In addition to emails, tonight I'm releasing a comprehensive timeline of the steps we've taken and the actions underway to solve this crisis. Let me walk you through the facts. First, this crisis began in the spring of 2013 when the Flint City Council voted 7-1 to buy water from the Kirigandi Water Authority, the KWA. Former Flint Mayor Walling supported the move, and the emergency manager approved the plan. DWSD, the Department of Detroit Water and Sewer Department, provided notice of termination effective 1 year later, and on April 25th, 2014, Flint began to use water from the Flint River as an interim source. Second, soon after the switch from Detroit water to Flint River water, residents complained about the water, the color, the smell, rashes, and concerns with bacteria. Ultimately, localized boil water advisories were issued by the city of Flint in August and September of 2014, each lasting several days. Third, the Department of Environmental Quality and the Federal Environmental Protection Agency began communicating about lead concerns in February 2015. Sadly, both were ineffective in fully addressing and solving the problem. DEQ misinterpreted the water safety regulations, and EPA did not act with sufficient urgency to address the concerns of one of its experts about DEQ's approach and the risk of lead contamination. In May 2015, lead service lines to one residence were removed and replaced due to high lead service levels. But still, they both failed to systematically identify and solve the problem. Fourth, in July 2015, my office proactively asked about the quality of Flint's water, test results, and blood testing. The DEQ told us that Flint was in compliance with the lead and copper rule. They told us there was one concern with one house that was corrected and there was nothing widespread to address. The Department of Health and Human Services also told us that the elevated blood lead levels were to be expected because they followed a normal seasonal trend. These conclusions were later shown to be incorrect when the Department of Health and Human Services conducted a deeper analysis of the relevant data. Fifth, in May, Professor Mark Edwards from Virginia Tech and Dr. Mona Hanna-Attisha sounded an alarm about lead in Flint's water. But tragically, based on what DEQ and the Department of Health and Human Services had seen on the ground, they initially failed to reach the same conclusion. I want to thank the professor, the doctor, and the concerned pastors of Flint for bringing this issue to light. We are actively investigating why these agencies got it so wrong. And I believe we have Dr. Attisha with us here tonight, and I'd like to recognize her. If you could rise, please. Dr. Hanna-Attisha, I apologize. I always call you Dr. Mona. Sixth, on September 28th, 2015, I was first briefed on the potential scope and magnitude of the crisis on a phone call with DEQ and DHHS, the Department of Health and Human Services. On October 1, 2015, DHHS epidemiologist validated Dr. Hanna-Attisha's findings, confirming the lead problem in Flint's water supply. At this point, I immediately ordered them to develop and implement a 10-point plan that included the immediate distribution of water filters, immediate testing water in schools, expanded water and blood testing for anyone that might be exposed. About 12,000 filters were distributed, 700 water tests, and 2,000 blood tests were conducted within the first 3 months. 7th, on October 8th, I announced that the Flint water system would be reconnected to the Detroit water system to minimize any further damage. And later that month, I announced the independent Flint Water Task Force to review actions that had occurred so far and to make recommendations to address the crisis. 8th, the task force issued its initial actionable recommendations and identified critical problems in mid-December. Specifically, they pointed to a primary failure of leadership at the DEQ and a culture that led to this crisis. The task force was right, and I immediately took action, appointing new leadership at the department. 9th, I declared an emergency in Flint on January 5th so we could access additional resources and mobilize additional support, including the Michigan State Police and the Michigan National Guard. These critical resources were needed to help families get clean water and end any risk or exposure for every resident of Flint. I also requested a presidential declaration of federal emergency, which was granted. And to the members of our congressional delegation who are here tonight, this is a challenge we must work together to solve, and I look forward to working with you to bring additional support from the federal government to the people of Flint. 10th, to date, more than 37,300 cases of water, more than 53,700 water filters, and more than 7,300 water testing kits have been distributed. More than 21,300 homes have been visited. This is not enough. I'm increasing the support from the Michigan National Guard starting tomorrow to ensure that every home we need to visit in Flint gets visited as soon as possible. And I'm appealing the President's decision not to grant a major disaster declaration. We'll continue to deliver water, filters. We will not stop working for the people of Flint until every single person has clean water every single day, no matter what. That's why today I made an official request of the legislature to fund a series of immediate actions to provide everyone in Flint clean water and care for Flint's children. In addition to the $9 million supplemental appropriation for Flint made in October 2015, the request today is for $28 million with $22 million from the general fund. It includes additional bottled water, filters, replacement filters for anyone that needs these resources. Assistance to the City of Flint to help with utility-related issues. Testing and replacing fixtures in schools, daycare facilities, and other high-risk locations. Treatment of children with high lead levels, including diagnostic testing, nurse visits, nutritional counseling, and environmental assessments. Services will be available for the treatment of potential behavioral health issues such as ADHD for those who have had or could have had elevated blood lead levels. We'll also work with local primary care providers and hospitals to educate the community about toxic stress and how to identify developmental delays. Support for children and adolescent health centers and additional support for children's health care access. An infrastructure integrity study for pipes and connections using outside independent experts. An important note, this will not be the last budget request for Flint. Additional resources will be needed for water-related needs, health-related needs, educational needs, economic development needs, and more.